Please make sure you keep up the loan payments, okay? That line flashed across my screen while I was at work. I fired off a call to Greg, and he answered in a calm voice I barely recognized. Sorry, Hannah. I've fallen for someone else. I'm starting over with her. Then he added he'd be taking the luxury camper we'd just bought, financed under my name, since I'd be handling the repayments. I tried to stop him. He hung up. After that, he went dark. By the time the day ended, Greg had vanished with his mistress, and I was staring down a mountain of debt. I'm 35. My name is Hannah. My husband, Greg, is the same age. We have a bright 10-year-old son, Ryan. He's always been a sharp one, reading online articles and asking me what I think about topics most adults avoid. Greg, by contrast, rarely held a steady job. Even when I worked full-time and worried about our future, he drifted. Only in the last 3 years did he manage consistent income. Lately he'd been talking about making family memories, so we settled on a $35,000 camper van. Greg couldn't pass the finance company screening, so the loan went in my name. On delivery day, an email landed out of nowhere. Since the van was financed under me, he'd kindly take it off my hands and I could cover the monthly bills. Stunned, I called. He confessed he'd fallen for someone, that what started as a fling had turned serious, and he planned to start a new life with her. I'll file the divorce papers we discussed, he said, and disconnected. That was the first time I truly felt the betrayal. He ignored every message after. When I got home and checked the drawer where the divorce paperwork should have been, it was empty. All I had left was a $35,000 auto loan in my name. I emailed. I called. Nothing. Ryan noticed the change in me. After dinner, he hovered, worried. Mom, what's wrong? You haven't been eating. Are you okay? Yeah, maybe just tired, I said. He squinted. When people lie, they look up to the right. Lying's bad. He lowered his voice. Dad hasn't been home for 3 days. Did something happen? His perception knocked the air out of me. I took a breath, sat him down, and told him everything. I kind of expected this, he said quietly. It's just like Dad. Doesn't it make you sad? He shrugged, trying to look unfazed. I knew there had to be sadness somewhere underneath. I apologized to him silently while I fought to keep my mind from spiraling. My body told the truth I didn't want to face. At a work training session, my knees buckled. I need a moment, I murmured, then crumpled. When I came to, I was in a hospital bed. The doctor recommended further tests and admitted me. Pathetic! I scolded myself, staring at the floor line and white ceiling as tears leaked out. That's when Ryan burst in. My stoic boy, suddenly pale. Mom, what happened? Is it serious? You're not going to die, right? Of course not. I'd never leave my son alone, I said, forcing a smile. Good. The school called and said you were taken to the hospital. My heart almost stopped. He's mature for 10, but he's still a child. I resolved to get better for him. Then came the diagnosis, a serious condition. You should have surgery right away, the doctor advised. I agreed. By the time I was discharged, a month had passed since Greg left. At home, a loan demand letter waited in the mailbox. I thought payments were set to auto-debit. Panicking, I checked my account. $20,000 gone. The balance was $33.90. Greg had emptied it. I wanted to demand the money back, but I couldn't reach him. I didn't even have the van to sell. Everything tilted in the wrong direction, and my mood sank with it. Ryan touched my forehead. You look pale. Do you feel sick? I'm okay physically, I said, but your father took the car and all our savings. I can't go back to work yet, and we have nothing. I don't know what to do. I'll deliver newspapers, he said instantly, and I'll check online for jobs I can do. His certainty steadied me. I told myself this wasn't the time to fall apart. I'm sorry I worried you, I said, managing a smile. I'll pull myself together and do whatever I can. He smiled back and then surprised me. Let's make a plan to get the van back from Dad. How? The camper's in your name, right? Yes, but… Then maybe he outlined an idea I would never have imagined. I hadn't even considered it. I also don't know where your father is, I said. We can use my phone. A month earlier, we'd gone hiking as a family, and for once Ryan got turned around. After that, we bought him a kid phone and installed a GPS app both Greg and I could access. With it, I can see Dad in real time, Ryan said. He moves around a lot. What if we find him and he just wriggles out again? I asked. Don't worry, Ryan said, grinning. I already took precautions. He'd acted while I was in the hospital, gathering information no 10-year-old should have to gather. He even figured out who Greg's girlfriend was. I marveled at my son's mind, and my heart ached that he needed to use it this way. All right, I said. Let's teach Dad, who betrayed us, a lesson. Let's start now, he said. We began preparing. With Ryan by my side, I felt oddly invincible. Bring it on. Anywhere, anytime. 3 days later, my phone rang. It's me. Please, I need help. Who is this? I asked evenly. Don't play dumb. It's your husband. The police are questioning me about you. They might take me to the station. Help me. Hold on, I said, and grabbed my bag. Ryan and I followed the GPS to a forest park near our house where camping's allowed. Greg stood by the van, looking rattled as officers asked questions. I sighed and told the police we needed a private conversation as a couple. They gave us space. Through the windshield, I saw his mistress, legs crossed, glowering. She didn't matter. Thanks for coming, Greg muttered once we were in the van. But why did the police show up? I don't get it. Because I reported the camper as missing. What? Why would you do that? Isn't it obvious? The vehicle registered to me was stolen. Greg had naively assumed that whatever happens between spouses can't be criminal? You're talking nonsense. Greg tried to bluff, but the world isn't that naive. You filed for divorce, remember? That makes us legal strangers, I said. You're driving a stranger's car without permission. That's a crime, Greg. Ryan had pieced it all together, sharp as ever. I didn't steal it, Greg muttered. I just borrowed it. Great, I replied evenly. I'd like to use my car now. Hand over the keys. I held out my palm. After a beat, he surrendered them. I checked the fob. Then Ryan spoke up, voice steady. Why did you ditch your family and run around with her? The question stunned Greg. He scratched his head, tongue-tied. His girlfriend smirked and cut in. Because I'm hotter than your mother. Look at me, obvious, right? He fell so hard he left you. Quiet, Ryan snapped. I wasn't asking you, ma'am. Dad, answer. Her smile collapsed under his tone. Greg still sat there, silent. If you can't explain, Ryan said, reaching for his phone, we can invite the police back. Wait. Okay, fine, I'll talk. He admitted it started when Mandy joined his company 3 months ago. They hooked up at the new hire welcome party. Later she announced she was pregnant. He decided to leave us and start a new life. And the camper? I pressed. I quit my job and thought about selling it, he said. But we were using it a lot, so I figured we'd take a trip first. How did I know where to find you? I added, when Ryan got lost hiking, we bought him a kid phone and installed GPS. We put the app on your phone, too. I've been able to see your location the whole time. Later, Ryan told me he'd faked getting lost to justify the phone, because he suspected his father and wanted a way to track him. The strategy floored me. You're terrifyingly clever, Greg muttered at Ryan. I'll never grow up to be a man who betrays the people who love him, Ryan answered. Greg had no comeback. Watching my 10-year-old stand his ground gave me spine. I turned back to Greg. Return the $20,000 you took from my account. Now, that was my savings from before we married, money I put away little by little. You hardly contributed. You were always quitting jobs. He balked. I learned he and Mandy had burned through the cash. Any lingering doubt about divorcing him evaporated. So here we are, I said. You took my car and my money. That's serious. I told the cops we'd talk, he said. So it's not their business anymore. I never withdrew my complaint, I replied. And I'll be adding the bank theft. Ryan. One tap, and the police are back, Ryan said, thumb hovering. Mandy had been eavesdropping from the passenger seat. She lunged for the door, but froze, screaming. Outside stood her parents, faces blazing. I'm sorry, don't be mad, she babbled. Why are you even here? I called them, I said. During my hospital stay, Ryan had visited Greg's office and, with tears in his eyes, told them, my dad ran off with a woman and my mom collapsed. Coworkers, already suspicious of Mandy after she quit with Greg, gave Ryan her parents' address. There were photos of the two of them at that welcome party, looking like a couple. We learned they'd been commuting from her parents' house. I took the address, told her parents everything, and asked them to wait nearby today. How could you do this to me? Mandy hissed. That's my line, I said. By the way, you're pretty far along. When's the baby due? In 3 months, she blurted. Greg blinked. Hold on, that doesn't fit. We met 3 months ago. Are you kidding? Ryan said, pregnancy is about 9 months. That baby isn't his. Greg stared at her, stunned. Mandy, were you lying to me? She scoffed, mask slipping. I almost pulled it off. You're so gullible you can't see through anything. Don't mock me, he shouted. You ruined my life. They erupted into a loud, ugly fight. No one stepped in. I called the police again and explained the situation. Dusk fell, red and blue lights, washed over the trees. I was wrong, Greg pleaded when the officers arrived. I'm really sorry. I'll change. Please, no arrest. People don't change that fast, Ryan said quietly. Especially not lazy ones. Exactly, I added. I don't trust you. Reflect and accept the consequences. If I get booked, how will I pay you back? After you atone, you'll work and repay every dollar, I said. Don't worry, I've already lined up a job. Here's the tally. Child support for Ryan, $500 a month, and the $20,000 you stole. However long it takes, you'll pay it. I turned to Mandy. You're not a bystander. You benefited from theft. If Greg can't repay, we'll seek it from you. Be ready. She clung to her parents. They stepped back. We won't cover for a daughter who harms others, her mother said flatly. Greg and Mandy were taken away in the same patrol car. Thanks to Ryan's plan, both were held to account. They were released soon after, but through my attorney I demanded restitution, damages of $20,000, plus the child support order. I also arranged steady work for Greg at a subcontractor tied to my company. The support and repayments would be deducted from his wages and deposited into my account. I sold the camper and cleared the auto loan. Since then, my health has bounced back. I'm focused at work again. Ryan pitches in with chores and errands, and the house feels lighter. I want to stay strong and keep moving so my son can chase what he loves without ever having to give up.